Well, good morning. Well, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Jolene's Happy Time Craftcast. I am indeed Joleen, and it is wonderful to see you on what is kind of a gloomy winter day here in Minnesota. But wherever you are, I hope you are well and wonderful. I can't even believe what time of year it is. Time has gone so fast, and I am very, very happy to report I am done Christmas shopping. I'm not done wrapping, but I am done shopping. And even if tempted, right? Even if tempted to grab those last minute little things, I'm not going to do it. I'm done. I'm done. The people have all the things. And so I feel like for me this year, it's been a bit of a marathon or not a marathon, but a sprint. I wasn't really organized in my brain about what I was going to do. And so I feel like I was on the interwebs, just like clicking buttons, like, yes, this and yes, that. And anyway, it's done. And I believe the people in my world will be very happy. So that's that. So today's guest, I always say it, and it's super, super true today. I am very, very, very excited to spend time with Royce Hunt of Roycycled Treasures. Many of you have followed Royce for a very long time on social media because she is an absolute gem. You'll see her content come across your feed, and you will want to stop, enjoy, comment, like, and share because she's just so amazing. So I'm going to let her tell you more about what Roycycled Treasures is, but just know that she is a passionate mixed media artist, and she has created such an amazing business, amazing products, and she is one of those folks that I've been looking to as inspirational because she has turned her artistic, crafty hands and passion into an awesome business. So I know you will do a really great job of helping me welcome Royce to the Happy Time Craftcast. There she is. Hi,
Good
Royce.
morning. Good morning. I need you to come and introduce me to my family, okay?
Be like a whole drum roll and like a whole situation of like, do
Yeah.
you know how awesome this woman is? No, seriously, I mean it. I know we have been mutuals on social channels for a really long time, and I feel like I know you like because of that. But can you just tell our listeners a little bit about what Roycycled Treasures is? Because, friend, it's amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so funny. So I'm neurodivergent. So if I bounce around, just call me back home.
You're
Okay.
welcome. You just be you. You be you.
Roy Cycled, it's so funny because it changes all the time. Like I
Okay.
started out with one thing and now I'm in this new place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, every year I do a new word, right? And
Yes.
my word, it was actually, I got it from Loki, right? From Marvel. But it was I have it on my thing right here. Glorious purpose was my
Okay.
kind of
Love
phrase
it.
for 2024, right? And so Roy Cycled, for me, it's all about empowering people to create and to create confidently,
Mhm.
right? To be able to stand in their gift and not apologize for it and not have to like it's interesting to me that as women we're embarrassed when we're successful or when we're
Mm.
good at something, right?
A
Like there's
little
like
bit.
this
Yeah.
internal need to like, I'm not being braggy or you know what I mean? That whole
Yeah.
thing. And so I've been gifted with, and my cousin calls it my ministry. I've been gifted with an opportunity to be able to just connect with so many people, primarily women. Most of my people are like 50 and older. You know, we're kind of in that transition where we have time
Yeah.
and resources. I mean, you
Right.
know, when you're young, you have time, but you don't have money. And then when you become like an adult, you have more money and resources, but you know, you have football games and
Yeah.
cupcakes at the school and PTO meetings and work and
Volleyball
young ladies burn
tournaments.
their bras. I'm gonna tell you, all they did was give me two jobs because now I get to still run the house and still go to work every day, you know,
Right.
because we're the ones that are leaving work to still run errands,
Right.
you know. And so when you get to be our age,
Mm-hmm.
it's this weird like a lull. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an empty nester. My youngest has been gone for 2 years,
Me
and
too.
yeah, right. And
It's so
it's an
weird.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
weird.
you start remembering, like, oh, I used to love to create. I
Mm-hmm.
used to, whatever, because, I'm a serial creator.
Me
So,
too.
yeah. So, all the things I used
Mm-hmm.
to do this and do this. And so, but then when you come back to like the space where people are creating, everything is
Mm-hmm.
different than it
Right.
was 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
And so to me, I'm kind of like the welcome. I'm the door greeter at the Walmarts. No, I'm the door greeter in the niche, right? Like, hey,
Right.
we're so happy to have you here. Come in, come in. Like,
Right.
here's a good starting place. These are some. I don't know. I feel like that's my position in our niche is kind of
Sure.
like the greeter, and then my kind of glorious purpose just recently is I started taking art classes about a year and a half ago. And um, because I've been creating forever, but to call
Yeah.
myself an artist, I was like, it's almost like I don't have a right to do that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's this thing that's
Yep.
been created.
Yep.
Anyways, that's a whole other conversation.
Right. So,
And we've all bought into it, right?
right. Of course. Me too.
And so, my new glorious purpose is to really love on my people and to teach them
It
the basics
shows.
of
It
art
shows.
design. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, can
just,
you talk about the Roycycled decoupage papers?
yeah. So I love oh girl. See that was a whole different journey. That's what I'm saying. Everything is different. So
Yeah.
I started upcycling and repurposing things and of course I'm a serial crafter. So
Yes.
then I was like, oh, I could do furniture. So I used to be a furniture artist, right? And a lot of people today don't know that because that was a while ago. But I was painting furniture, and I knew what I wanted on my furniture, but it didn't exist,
Oh, right.
right? And so I found a way to make it. And once I started making it for my furniture, I live in a small rural area,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of makers here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're industrial, because you know this is how
Mm-hmm.
it is. And
Yeah.
so my friend Dana Cheryl, she loves like cowgirl stuff. So she's like, "Oh, Royce, can you make me like some like cowgirl cowboy stuff?" I'm like, "Sure." And then I have another friend, Trisha. She owns a beautiful shop now here in town on our main street, and she's like, "Can you make me some farmhouse stuff?" I'm like, "Sure." So I'm like making designs for my friends,
Right.
and then I started putting my designs on this print on demand site,
Yeah.
but I was marketing it as my product.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of the birth of Roycycled
Sure.
Treasures. And it was all about the decoupage. And the reason that I started making it was because I wanted certain things, but
Right.
decoupage is so immediately transformative,
Right.
right? Like if you're someone who's brand new, right, to crafting or
Mm-hmm.
creating, and you can glue that piece of paper down and seal it,
Mm-hmm.
and you completely transformed something,
Well,
and you
and
get to have a
Royce,
part of that.
I love your papers,
Thank you.
so, so much because, I've been a decoupageur like from the beginning. It was one of probably the very first things I used and tried, and I still use it a lot. But I use a napkin, right? Like I separate the plies, and I'm always on the lookout for really cool napkins, but they're not as cool as your papers. They are
Thank you.
so amazing.
And then
So
the paper is heavier than the napkins
yeah.
too.
Oh,
Those napkins can be a little persnickety.
right. I've watched you, but now you have like, I
Sorry,
can't go to your website and buy it, right? Like I have to buy it through a
retailers.
retailer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So how do people find the retailers?
So if they go to roycycle.com and they
Okay.
look at the top, it says retailers, and if
Mm-hmm,
they
mm-hmm.
click on there, it takes them right to like a map, and they can put in their city or zip code, and they can find someone near them. If they don't have someone near them,
Yes.
then they can look at the nearest retailers, and like 90% of my retailers have an online presence, and or they'll ship. And then a lot of my retailers are also on Etsy, and then our newest approved platform is Whatnot. So
So can we just sit for a minute in Royce, you have like national distribution of
it's
your product.
it's kind of crazy.
My It's so cool. And like I saw a video that you posted. It must have been a million years ago. I'm so sorry. I can't remember when it was. But like you were up in front of like a thing, winning a thing. Like
Oh yeah.
what was that cool thing?
That was really cool. So we have our local small business SPD.
Yeah. Whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small Business Association or something. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And
Yes.
ours is pretty awesome because ours is tied in with our local community college, and they
Okay.
are so awesome. And so they teamed with Lord have mercy. I have not had coffee this morning.
That's okay. Take a draw on that.
I know. This is my water. I haven't even had time to make coffee. They
We'll get
teamed
it
with this
working.
organization to do
Hmm.
a pitch contest.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
and you won.
I did. I did. I won the local pitch contest. It was super exciting. And even though I won the pitch contest, that
Hmm.
isn't even where the value was,
Right.
interestingly enough. Because before you pitch, like you spend a whole day working with these amazing people.
Hmm.
You have to do your pitch ahead of time, right? And they
Hmm.
ask you these questions. And it's interesting. I know why the SBA did it now because you almost basically have to build a little mini business.
To be a pitcher.
Yeah, because you
Right,
have to
right,
talk about like, all these things about your business. And so
right.
even in writing your pitch, and then you spend all day practicing and you're in front of, and we have our local, like our, these agencies across the state that all work with
Hmm.
small businesses are the judges. So like you're working on your pitch and it's really forcing you to look at your business
Sure.
from the outside, right?
Right.
Which is so super valuable. And then also just being in the same room with individuals who work with these agencies. So like one of the judges who was there that I was in the room with all day and I had an opportunity to connect with
Hmm.
also works for another agency that gives out like small business loans. So, I was able to use the information I gathered for my pitch, right? To write this application for an interest-free business loan,
Mm. See,
right?
this
For my
is why,
business.
Royce, this is exactly why I said I find you inspirational because I am so good at the artisty things. Like I want to make, create, work with my hands all day long, right? Like you say, do all the things. But you are such a good example of a girl's got to promote her business as an artist equally, right? Like we have to also do these kinds of things. And like when I saw that video of you accepting that award, I was just like so happy in our community of, like this is great. And it's a great like example for the rest of us who have artistry based businesses that we got to focus on making money too.
Yeah, yes,
And that's
you.
hard.
It is hard. I don't like it.
I know, right? I just want to play with my toys, is what I say. Like, I want to just go into my workshop and play with my stuff.
I do. I'll be honest with you. My husband pushed me to do that pitch contest. I wasn't going to do it, and he was just like, "Babe,
He's
like,
like he's one of my favorite parts of your content, especially when you have a full trunk of stuff and you're like and you're like you can't fit any more into your
yeah."
vehicle. And I think you'll have like little text overlay that's like, we've got more room. And he's just standing there like, oh my God.
He knew who he was marrying. He knew.
Right.
Though it's hilarious because I am the crazy one in this relationship because you know that if you don't understand that there's a crazy one in every
Mhm.
relationship and you're not sure who it is, it's probably you.
Right. Well, you'll have to go back to like episode number 2 of the Happy Time Craftcast. My guest was my husband, and
Oh
he
my
talked about what it's like to live with an artist like me. And he has this whole thing called Muppet theory that he subscribes to. Either you are a chaos Muppet or an order Muppet. I'm sure you know where you fall. Because I know where I fall. And for the longest time, I was so offended when he would talk about this. I'd be like, stop calling me a chaos Muppet because I was like so offended by thinking it was like unorganized or messy because I'm not really those things. I'm just more tornado-y, like so many things going all at the
at
same
one
time.
time. Yeah.
And I think you and I share that in common.
I tell my husband I'm a visual organizer.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to totally steal that. Now, I have a favorite project of yours, but let's hear what yours is. So when you do typography work, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love all the letters, all the numbers. I love it. So do you have a favorite medium, project, or technique?
So topography, it's funny that you say that because I love topography. Like I collect ephemera. I
Hmm.
have an entire, what do you call it, console. It's a
Warehouse?
console because it's in the living room, but it's really a dresser. You know how we do.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Full of paper. And I mean
Hmm.
postcards and old
Yeah.
letters with script. And I just look, you're gonna laugh at me. I have
I'm
this
not.
book.
I'm going to embrace it, Royce, and I'm going to love it.
I just scored this book at the thrift store and like I am in heaven because it's an old like
Oh, get out of town.
right?
Friends, she
And
is
it was at the thrift
listening and not
store.
watching. She's
Anyway.
showing like a book about, is it like
Oh, I know.
typesetting?
I'm sorry.
No,
We're
no,
not
you're
mixing up,
fine.
are
Is it
we?
like typesetting and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's what it is. It's a typesetting book. And I just scored it at the thrift store. So like I love
delicious.
typography. I think
Yes.
years ago when things were not mass produced, there
Mm-hmm.
was so much attention to detail and the reality was the people who could afford it were rich and they had an expectation too. That's a whole nother thing. But
Mm-hmm.
so there was this attention. My phone is on do not disturb. Why is it coming through? There was this attention to detail
Yeah.
and all these things, and so I love it all, and so you'll
Mm-hmm.
see it reflected in a lot of my work.
Sure.
My favorite medium is obviously decoupage,
Right.
right? But over the years, like a lot of us, my artistry has grown, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's more all the things.
All right.
Like I think for me, when people used to say mixed media, I would think of something very specific, like this very specific kind of art.
Oh,
But
yeah.
really, it's just using different things
Right.
in your creativity,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my favorite things is mixing up all the things.
Right. Putting it all together. Yeah.
Yes.
So I call myself a mixed media artist too, just because I don't really feel like I have a category. I
Yeah.
feel like it's kind of like a catch-all. Because how do you, I mean, there are other people in my lane who say they're sculptors, which paper sculpture, bookboard sculpture, like, yeah,
It's
sure.
three-dimensional, though. I think
Yeah,
that's
right.
why, right?
Right, exactly. My all-time favorite thing, though, is making new things out of old things and coming up with new designs for the garbage, basically, that I collect. So what lights you up the way garbage lights me up?
I love garbage too. Um, it's funny. That's where I started.
Yeah.
Like that's literally where my business started, was just
Mhm.
finding and going. I love going picking. You can tell
Oh,
by my band.
yeah. Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
love picking. I love finding like these things that people have passed away and they don't have value for anymore. And then we bring it home, and I'm blessed, I have an assistant now, and
Hmm.
so he does a lot of the physical stuff for me. So like right now, for instance, we drove to Tucson, which is like 2 hours. Don't
Hmm.
ask me how many miles because I don't know.
Right, right.
It's 2 hours away, and it was a watchmaker's cabinet. It was two of them that we bought, right? I drove 2 hours to go get them. I was like, yes, please, I will Venmo you. I will, like, please hold these for me, I am on my way.
Right, right.
My poor husband. Anyway, so we took them, and so we're taking the base because I'm keeping some of it. You know how we do
Right,
the
right, right.
bases right now, and so when I say we, I mean George.
Yes.
He's already stripped them, and he's painting them this beautiful, like deep, dark, luscious green color.
Sure.
And they have brass pulls, and somebody had painted over them, so we stripped stripped them, and we have we collect things like people. Girl, I will come home because I live in a little community, and there will be like furniture in my driveway
Oh,
because
sure.
people, they know that I do
Yeah,
this, and so
yeah,
they
me
just
too.
drop stuff off, and
Mhm.
some of it's useful and some of it's not, but I always feel like there's always something useful.
Right. And then is this for home? Are you going to resell this? Like what?
See, what had happened was,
Yeah, I like the face you're making because I think you're going to keep it.
I don't know. Like some pieces, I feel like my friend Trisha has a beautiful shop on Main Street, and
Yeah.
my plan is to take this set of tables because we're gonna put some. We have some wood that we we scavenged off of something else, and
Yeah.
it's going to be the tops. And I
Yeah.
bought legs for it. So it's going to be beautiful side tables with all these little
Right.
drawers. I'm a sucker for cubbies and drawers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like the apothecary
Yes,
tables and
exactly.
like I want a map. Do you have one? A map maker's desk where you pull out the
I
drawer and
don't.
see, I could have
This is
swore
what
you
it looks
did.
like, kind of though, because the drawers are like, it's
Mm-hmm.
a
That.
watchmaker, so it's narrow, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
as
Those.
big as a map maker's jar. I want
Mhm.
one of those for
So do
my
I.
space though.
I also want
Um,
a Dewey Decimal cabinet. Like I
yes.
want the library drawers cabinet, but I don't want it to be like one that I can pick up at a store. Like I want it to be real.
Yeah. And I've scored those before and upcycled them and sold them. So my creative journey is
Lucky.
so like all over the place because honestly, oh my gosh, do you care about this journey? Do you want to hear about it? Because it's crazy. It's windy, right? So I
Yes, of
started
course.
off making and upcycling things, and then I was separated and I found myself being a single parent for the
Hmm.
first time in a long time. So I started doing furniture because I could buy
Hmm.
furniture at their stores. But then, I start picking all the things and then
Hmm.
I have friends, like I told you. And so now I'm like picking things and I'm repurposing and remaking them and I'm going to shows,
Yes.
like uh,
Kind of like a
not
junk bonanza is what we have in Minnesota. Like that kind of thing.
yeah, like shows
Yeah.
like that, or even
Yeah.
like wine events,
Mm.
it's really good base if you're doing shows and of like a wine event, like an outdoor wine event where they have tastings and musics and things like that. That population is really, really good. Their median income is like 40% higher than the average income. Seriously. You know what
I
I
love
mean?
that you know that. It's just so
Well,
awesome.
well, I
What you
know
need to
that.
get is you need to get yourself some wine drinkers. Like I love that.
Well, because they're
That's
looking.
super good advice.
Yes, I'm telling you, the wine events are so beautiful.
Oh,
The
sure,
people
they're
who are there
absolutely.
are looking for authentic experience and they're looking for unique
Yeah,
items.
definitely.
They really are. And so we did really well at them.
I love that. I absolutely love it so much.
And
So,
so I did shows, I
yes.
pick and I did shows. And so for years, we find interesting things like that and make them, I think I bought a full on like library thing and it was
Hmm.
multiple pieces, and so we broke the pieces out to make different things because you
Hmm.
optimize like your return, right, your
Right,
ROI.
right, right. It went many ways.
And we made a side table, I made a coffee table, and then I still have like a little square one like this in my
Hmm.
shed that I'm going to do someday. But yeah, like that stuff still lights me up, and that's not even the stuff that I show because it's so.
Right. No, I didn't know. I didn't know that side of you. I mean, so with decoupage, right? Like I kind of think that for a while there, in my experience, the medium had a little bit of a bad reputation. Do you think so too? Because it was like we were like I don't even know how to describe it, but it seemed like we had a Mod Podge, and I swear this is a Mandela effect. That when I was growing up, I swear to you that it was Modge. I swear, and not Mod.
Not
And
my,
so
I
when
don't.
I call it Modge, of course the comments light up about, what a dummy I am, that it's not Modge, it's Mod. But I went back and I asked my mom, and she was like, I swear to God it was Modge. I looked at the Wikipedia article. It was never Modge. It's always been Mod. But anyway, that my mom calls it Modge, and so I call it Modge. And I think it's because I think the bad rep came from maybe Modge Podge puzzles. Like
I
you do a puzzle and then you'd Mod Podge it and then hang
together.
it on the wall as kind of art. And I think that for me, that's kind of where it started to go a little sideways and out of artsy and into crafty. And because we get judgy about art and craft, as you mentioned, I think
Mhm.
that we then have to like kind of separate ourselves from that and dig ourselves out of that nonsense because that's nonsense, right?
It
Like if
is.
you're making it with your hands and you love it and it brings you joy, then we have to put the little label to the side. Like, who
We
cares?
really, really do. And I think it's different. I mean, when I used to Mod Podge with my grandmother, it was completely different. We were cutting out, things from like magazines,
Yeah.
and you were gluing it on something, and then you were putting on like this thick layer of varnish on
Yes.
top of it. Like it
Yes.
was a completely different process. And
Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because when I first started my brand, my tagline was "This is not your grandma's decoupage," like literally.
Right. So did you, when you were growing up, was it mod or mod?
I don't I don't know. It's one of those things that
Well, see, and I've been corrected so many times that
I
I
think I
almost,
said Mod Podge, but I don't ever remember
right.
seeing it to see what it
The
actually
label,
said.
right. Right,
Yeah,
right.
it was.
So I say Maj in my videos sometimes just to be defiant, to be like, I know it's wrong and I don't care because
When
this
people
is what
correct
mom
me, I'm
called
like,
it.
"Thank you for the engagement. Carry
Right.
on."
For those of you that are with us live and in the comments, I am so curious. Did you say mod or Maj? Like, I just have to know. And while you're doing that, so Royce, do you have like, a project or a place or a technique where our listeners can get started? And let's talk specifically, I think, like even recycled decoupage papers, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is something that you recommend? Where should they start?
So if you're looking like to decoupage, like you want to decoupage something and you want it to be meaningful, but you want it to be easy. I swear I did not plan this. I just happen to have this. It's not even the best example. But like um, when I worked in my office, I would decoupage all of my clipboards so that when
She's
somebody
holding
walked
up
away
a
with
wood
them,
she's
I would,
holding up a wood clipboard that has typography. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I love this.
So this is a piece from a piece of decoupage paper because my papers are 20-inch by 30-inch. They're huge
Yes.
pieces. And so a clipboard and just take a zip tie and just zip your
Open the,
zip
yep.
open and you can decoupage. And it's almost, if you have last minute gift ideas, like,
Or if you need a last
I
minute gift
mean, that's
idea,
what I
look at
meant to
that
say.
thing.
Yeah, decoupage a clipboard. It's super easy.
It's
Um,
so cute. It is so cute. I can't stand it. I love it.
and that's not even the best example. Like you should see my desk, girl. It's about
Hold up
a
anything.
foot
We
and
don't
a half
care. Like,
high.
hold it up.
It's about a foot and a half high. I got straps here. I'm working on new designs and all the things, all the things. So this is I only have industrial design. If you like pretty stuff, I have pretty papers too, but
Like
just for an
industrial.
idea of scale, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you give inches and I've ordered stuff and I'm all mad when I get it. And then I go back and read the description. It's like, oh, well, they told you what size it was.
Right, 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 right.
But my brain doesn't always. So this is
Now
the
these,
size of the papers, right? So they're like
oh my goodness.
and this is, I love industrial,
Yes.
steampunkish
Yes.
photography,
So
but I design for a
you're
lot of
holding
different.
up a Roycycled decoupage paper,
Yes,
and it's a huge locomotive, it's a huge train. And like, could a person put that on furniture? Is that one of the ideas, or is the
yeah,
idea you use bits of it in many projects?
both. Right? So one of the reasons I started making paper, to your point, was all I could find were napkins, and they were
Yes,
all like small scale, and I
yes,
wanted larger scale for furniture. So
yes.
that was one of the things that drove me to start creating this product. But through the years, I've found that there are more and more people who are looking for decoupage for different reasons, right? Home
Mm-hmm,
decor and even artists. It's interesting that we say decoupage, but whenever I'm taking like my art classes and I'm in a group, it's
mm-hmm.
called collage
Oh, so
there.
that's a way to be a little bit more elevated. I see. I
I
see.
don't know.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. It is
Yeah.
the exact same thing. Like
Oh my
literally.
gosh, exactly.
Well, I shouldn't say that. If you're
Well,
talking about collage as an entire like finished project, obviously that's different than
right.
the
But the
act of
method,
collaging. Yes.
well,
Yeah.
because like when I'm doing, okay, so to your point, when I am collaging with like
Yeah.
matte medium goes on the bottom, the paper goes on next, and then matte medium goes on the top. It's
Yeah.
the exact same technical process
Yeah.
as decoupage. It's the exact
Exactly.
same. So you're absolutely right.
And
So
so what I
in our
found myself,
comments, oh,
oh,
sorry, I
sorry.
was just going to tell you in our comments, some of the people said they grew up with it being called Maj.
See,
Yep.
I don't know that I ever thought about how I say it, Mapaj.
Well,
I don't know.
I never thought about it either until I was corrected 10,000 times. Then I was like, oh, wait. And then I read the bottle. I was like, oh my God, it says mod.
Girl, one of the products I use a lot, they always come out with like these French names. And I remember when they came out with a stamp and it was peonies. I still don't know how you're supposed to say it. I think most of my engagement was corrections on how to say
Oh yeah.
peonies, pennies, peonies, peonies. I don't know. I know what I'm talking about.
I usually just point now this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Um, but the
So,
thing about decoupage is you can
yes,
literally use it anywhere. You can use it on any flat surface, wood,
right.
glass, paper, you know what I'm saying, metal. You
Hmm.
can use it on furniture. You can use it in your art journal. You can use it in your home
Right.
decor. You know, you can go buy, which is a lot of what I do, go to the thrift store. I think I'm going to try to go today. We'll see. Go to the thrift store
Right.
and buy things, and then you bring them home and you update them, you know,
Sure.
you reimagine them. And decoupage is just such an easy way to do that. And like this, you don't just have to decoupage. Like you can decoupage something and then you can paint over it, you can put stencils over it, you
Yep.
can, you
Use it as a
know, you can
layer.
put molds over it. So
Hmm.
it can just be a part of a process, you know, paint inlays, transfers, all of it
Right.
can go on top of your decoupage.
I love
So when you ask me like, for an easy project, a clipboard would be a
Yes.
fun and easy and useful project, right?
So, okay, so with the clipboard race, so with decoupage, sometimes I know some of us struggle with sticky. It feels sticky when you're done or a little bit tacky.
Yeah.
So, is there something in the process or in the medium that makes it sticky or a little bit tacky?
So I will be honest with you. When
Please.
I used to use Mod Podge, we're going to call it Mod
Hmm.
Podge today, just because.
Thank you.
I would add water to it
Oh, sure.
and thin it out just a little bit. So it was like, and I have a lot of food references, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. It would be like whole milk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the consistency.
Yeah.
And that's how I address the stickiness.
Yes.
Right? But now, most of the time when I'm decoupaging, I'm either using a water-based varnish or top coat or clear coat, whatever you call it. It's all the same thing, but you
Yeah.
know, we all have these different names, especially if you're doing it on furniture because you want to have a durable finish.
Hmm.
So, like a water-based varnish, top coat, clear coat, whatever you call it, is perfect. If you're working in your art journal, you can just, like you just said, you can use your gel medium or you can use your liquid medium, your matte medium.
Hmm.
All of it works, right? Because you're what, regardless of what medium you're using, you're encasing it. And I
Hmm.
think that tackiness probably came from some of the older products that used to be used for, you know, decoupaging, that really heavy varnish, or even like I find using Mod Podge. I don't know why my phone is ringing. Like
That's
I
okay. We
literally
forgive
have it set on
you.
disturb. Uh, and um, I think the Mod Podge is tacky when you use it full strength.
Right. So,
Like
what is your favorite medium for your base layer before your paper?
the water-based varnish.
Water-based varnish.
I use it to both attach my paper and
Hmm.
to seal my paper, because then you're working with one product and
Hmm.
you put it down and you go right over the top, and then you're
Hmm.
like going to have like a really durable surface. So
Hmm.
even if you're doing a clipboard, you want it to be durable, right?
Right.
And you know, after that varnish cures, because I get the questions a lot, like how durable is the surface going to be if you're using
Right.
like
Well, it's encased, as you've said.
yeah, but
So,
if you're using a quality top coat, like that's
right.
going to be what's going to protect the surface.
Okay. So let's get us even more granular. So, does Roycycled Treasures also make the adhesives?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So, what are there brands then that you recommend in like a high quality water-based varnish?
Um, so I try not to recommend specific brands because my retailers all carry so many different brands.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's one of part. And then the other part is I don't want people to feel like they have to go out and buy something special.
Sure.
You probably already have what you
Mm-hmm.
need to decoupage already in your stash.
So, can a person use school glue? Can you use Elmer's?
You can use Elmer's to glue it, but I would still want to seal it with a quality top coat
Again, a water-based
just for
varnish.
durability. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's why I keep going back to the water-based varnish, because you can use it to glue it and to seal it, and then it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's done, and it's
You
going to
are
last for a long time.
you are a smart, smart lady. And I hope people tell you this often because I love how you have like the diplomacy of, your product is sold by other retailers and they sell other products. And I think that it is like, it's kind, and generous to be like, I don't have a favorite because I want everybody to win, like,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that about you. I think you're amazing.
Thank you so much. Can I tell you something? If I cry, you guys look over me because I'm a crybaby. I think that we all have gifts. And so
Hmm.
often we think our gifts are the things that we've chosen to wrap our gifts in,
Hmm.
but it's not, right? It's the thing, and the thing doesn't change regardless of what you're doing. And I spent the bulk of my adult life working in social services. And everything that I did led me to the next thing, which is
Right.
like, right?
Yeah.
So my last job was an executive director of a nonprofit, and then I served on our local board for United Way of Graham and Greeley counties. So I did a lot of work with smaller nonprofits around capacity building,
Mhm.
sustainability, you know what I'm saying, all these things. And so I think in my business, I still do the same thing. Like
Sure.
I feel like my gift is in that. It's
Hmm.
just really encouraging people and like that's what I do. And so I do that in my business. So like even behind the scenes for my retailers, we have training for my retailers. My business coach comes in and does training for my retailers. We have ongoing education on the back end of, they can go in.
Hmm.
So to learn how to use the stencils, how to decoupage. Whenever you guys see me doing a course, like with everybody,
Hmm.
if it has to do with decoupage, it's free for my retailers, right?
Yeah.
And I think it just comes from the practices that I learned while being
Sure.
in this other space in the nonprofit sector. Like,
Right.
and being part of a community, if you invest in your community, then
Hmm.
it will be better. And your community can be your physical community. Right now I serve on the board for our Chamber of Commerce, and I serve on multiple boards within our physical community, but even in our community of creatives,
Right.
right? It's the same thing. Like if
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
invest in the community, then it makes the community better.
Right.
And I think I just do that everywhere because it's my grandma's fault. It's all
Well,
her
I
fault.
think it's a really great practice, and I think that, like, what I hear you say is that it's an abundance mentality, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't hold so tight, you share and you have, right? Like, you don't hold so close that other people can't be a part of it, but rather you welcome them in and then it blossoms and it grows. And it's just a reflection of you as a leader and as a businesswoman. And I think that's definitely a part of your magical gift.
Thank you. Can you come talk to my family?
Yes, this is recorded too, so
Because they
you
think
can
I'm
share it
crazy.
time and time and time again.
No, I'm
Absolutely.
just, thank you. I appreciate it. I do. I
Well,
do.
we're kind of our time is going so fast, but so I have a couple more questions. And, a question that I ask on every show is, what's on your work table right now? And I will answer too. What am I working on? What's on my work table? So I am in another book board phase, right? Like, I got it, Royce, I got to
Those are like spectacular, by the way.
thank
Like
you.
I remember when I first came across you and you were folding pages. And so
Oh, sure.
like I've seen this like progression
Hmm.
over time.
Yes,
Anyways,
of the
it's
whole book,
beautiful.
the inside and the outside. We're gonna like do
Yes.
something with it. So,
Well,
so Royce, I haven't posted it on social media yet, other than on a live, but I got a guillotine electric cutter.
oh my gosh.
I know, I know, I know. It's so exciting. Yes, and it's such a game changer. And I mean, because I use so much paper, book paper in my projects and for my craft club. So like I'll send them paper and I'll say, you need 100 4-inch squares. And they'll be like, oh my God, Jolene, like, I'll cuddle with paper.
100.
And so now I have this guillotine that just comes down and slices the whole thing. And I mean, they are wildly cost prohibitive. But I was keeping my eye on Facebook Marketplace, and there was a print shop going out of business. And so he was selling two. Now, the kind that has the foot press is definitely the kind a person would aspire to, because mine has a big wheel on the top that I have to turn to tighten it. So, like, I cut something and then I have to unwind it
Yeah.
and then stick my hands in there, pull it out, and then do it all over again. So it's not as fast as, say, the bandsaw, but I don't get all that chaff on the back from cutting
Yeah.
it on my bandsaw, and it like really rips up the book board and stuff like that. So anyway, so I just made the pennant, the garland pennant for my office out of bookboard. And now I want to really challenge myself into, I've done mosaics with my book board, but they've always been a bit more abstract and shapeless. It's just been like fitting all the pieces together. And because the pieces are all different, it kind of ends up looking vortexy, like your eye sees it go in and out
It's
because
a
it's so random.
geometry.
I've
Yeah.
also done them where I've cut them into like 2-inch squares and I've made like a bookboard quilt. But now in my mind, I want to do more of like maybe a sun with some, the radius coming out. But that is some really fussy piecing. So, but
Yeah.
that's what's on my work table is figuring out a mosaic that's a bit more mosaicy.
Yeah, but like, oh, like I'm all excited.
I know, thank you.
Well, because as long as the value is correct, like it'll
Right,
work, right?
right, right,
Oh, I
right.
can't wait to see what you do.
Right. But it's what it is it's the roundness of like a horizon or a sun. Because working with lines is
Yeah.
easy. But when I start adding in the curve, that's where things get difficult. But I was thinking I would just have the one curve of like this sun thing. And so I don't have to do it for the whole thing. And then I can go back to straight lines because it's the curves that are, because I was working on, I did some Lazy Susans with bookboard. I see I didn't post that either. I'm so bad. I have to get so much more organized. But anyway, I did Lazy Susans and they're awesome. And I use them as centerpieces here at our event center and they're just great. But I don't know where I was going with that. I'm in a
The
whole
circles,
bookboard
the
PC thing.
rounds, the
The
round
round, yes,
part. Yeah.
but I still use straight lines because then the straight line goes over the edge of the Lazy Susan, and then I can draw the curved line,
Yeah.
on the back, and then it fits. So, but anyway, I think I'm ready for a challenge, but that's what's on my work table.
Oh, wow. I cannot wait to see that.
Well, let's hope this girl posts it. That's my like I do all this stuff and I don't post it. I don't know what's wrong with me. But
It's hard,
oh
right? I
man,
mean, sometimes when you're in flow,
right?
it's interesting as an artist, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you have, like, we're in flow. And if I have to stop and turn my camera on, now I've
Mm-hmm.
removed myself from the process.
Exactly.
And it impacts how you create. I
Oh,
mean, it really,
definitely.
really does. And so I always say that whatever I create live is never my best because I have
Mm,
to be present with,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because I don't know if you've seen our crazy lives. Me and my husband are
Yeah.
there and we're chatting with everybody, we're doing it. But whatever I'm doing is not going to be my best, not because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want it to be my best, but it's just because I have to be present in the moment.
Right. Right.
Whereas when I'm working by myself, I can just be totally lost in whatever
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
my heart is taking control of my hands and I'm out of my head and I'm just
Right.
creating, which is when the magic really happens.
Well, and I think for me, I love creating content on a live, and I think it's because I might be a bit lazy in the content creation space. And I am using lazy like it's not really what it is, but I can get it done faster. Kind of like with these
Yes.
podcasts, right? Like we stream it live, it's done, right?
Yes.
I don't have to get into the heavy editing and curation and making sure it's got an Instagram aesthetic. Like, no, it's done. And the same thing happens with me on live when I live stream. I am creating content and working in my shop at the same time, and I don't have to edit. And it's just done.
Yes.
And I love that. I love it so much from like a time management point of view as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
Mhm.
I'm just mean that when I'm creating, I had gotten to a place in my business where I had stopped creating just for the sake of creating.
Oh, sure.
Like every
Mhm.
time I was creating, I was either recording a video or I was
Yes.
live or I was
Yes.
creating for something,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And so about a year and a half ago, I decided that if I was going to continue to grow, then
Mhm.
I was going to have to make time because you and I know that the experimentation is where
Oh,
the growth
yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
right? You made a comment earlier when we were chatting that you thought I had my stuff together. I'm like, girl,
I
bye.
do.
No,
I did
no.
not know you called yourself the Hot Mess Express. I had no idea. And I didn't think that you were clumsy like me or like I
Just
was
ask
just,
my
it was
husband.
so comforting to have like that in common.
No, I think no. I am a mess. My brain right now, I literally have 3 conversations going on right now this second.
Understood.
Um, I'm not
Well,
kidding.
and I'm so sorry, I didn't even get to like, what are you working on? So what
Oh,
are
what am
you
I
working
working
on
on
right
right
now?
now?
Yeah.
So I have we mentioned that I started taking art classes and stuff, and
Mhm.
um super short, just a little bit of cul-de-sac for this conversation is that um
Your analogies are amazing. Whole milk, cul-de-sac, like I love it.
right? Is for years I created and I battled with calling myself an artist. And I
Yes.
felt like I didn't have the right to call myself an artist.
Mhm.
And I think it's because the elite have done a really good job of brainwashing us all to think that creating art is something that is exclusive, right? And so I've decided that I'm calling BS on that.
Thank you.
Hogwash, right?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to call myself an artist, I can be honest with myself and say that I want to be an artist.
Mhm.
Like, why am I denying myself that? Like, it was this weird thing. And the more I talk about it, the more I realize it's something that a lot of us do,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
about a year and a half ago, I started taking art classes, and I've grown to the place now where I can actually, I can actually create something. Yes. Not that I can actually create something, but portraiture has been my newest endeavor.
Oh, yeah, good for
Right?
you.
So over Thanksgiving, I was like, okay, Royce, I have 3 days where I'm down. I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna do a project from start
Yeah.
to finish,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to limit myself, and I'm not
Mhm.
gonna like. So I
Mhm.
did that small piece, and I'm really proud of it. It's not perfect, but I'm really proud of it. So
Mhm.
for Christmas holidays, the same thing. What Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's like 6 days basically
Mhm.
that I've decided that I'm gonna just take off,
Nice.
and I'm gonna put a big canvas up in my studio space I've made for myself, and I'm gonna work on creating a piece. And I'm not going to deny myself. I'm not going to
And do you
have
think that'll be
little.
a portrait?
I don't know. Look at
Okay.
here. You went somewhere scary. Wait.
You're like, I've
I don't.
got the canvas, I've got the time. Like that's
Yeah.
where I'm headed.
I just want to, because sometimes I'll start doing something, and there will be this little voice. It'll be like, "Who do you think
Mm.
you are?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
do.
I, I don't believe I'll ever get to a place where that won't be there. I've just
Yeah.
come to understand how to deal with that voice.
Right. Right.
And so I have projects where I've done one project that's been like fabulous, and
Mhm.
then like I won't try again because what if I don't do as well? Like I'm
Right.
crazy. What am I doing?
I
Anyways,
think
so
you're in good company there. I think that's a theme I hear a lot, and I've done it too. And like there there were some people, get this, some people came to, our farm, to our retreat center. And by the way, I should say about Big Raven Farm, friends, we have almost all of our retreat pages up for 2025. And we do have gift certificates. If you are like in a last minute, what am I going to get my special mom,
ooh,
sister, friend for the holidays? Like you can get a gift certificate for a retreat. Anyway, I would be remiss not to say that. But so we had someone come and they were kind of looking around because my whole retreat center is my home, and my goal has been to fill it with my artwork. And we had somebody kind of come through and they kind of gave me one of these, like, oh, isn't that cute? Because it's not fine art, or it's not refined, right? Like it's not acrylic or oil or watercolor or like whatever. And I just had a moment where like that really sandpapered, like it hit me and it kind of went up and down a little bit. And then I was like, okay, Jolene, settle down, settle down. I mean, because Royce, I had a barrier because I use like garbage materials, and because it's easy for me, I didn't think I could call it art because
but it
it's not
is.
hard,
But
right?
it is.
Right, I know. And it was my youngest son, Charlie, who, here's this analogy, get this. So Charlie, when he was, I don't know, he started playing drums when he was 8. And now he is in a band. And he has been a musician basically his whole life. And he is the kind of musician where it's hands, feet, sometimes head. They're all going a different direction, right? So 5 different rhythms all at the same time. And we have always said, Charlie, oh my God, you are so good at this. Like, this is amazing. Like, this is a talent. Like, son, oh my gosh, you have been blessed, like, this is great. And he said, I really wish you would stop saying that to me because it's not like it's even hard. And I was like, wait. He's like, and so I said, Charlie, babe, it's not hard for you
Yeah.
because it's a talent, honey, a talent and a skill, and you've worked on it, and it's a gift. And it was like, boop, a light bulb went off. Well, and then I totally forgot about that conversation. And, 10 years later, or not that many, because he's only 20 now, but I was complaining about this very thing. I was saying, like, I can't call it art because it's not that hard. And who jumps in but my kid and says, it's not hard for you. And I was like, oh, well, I said something parental and you were listening. And now you back in my face.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. But I'm sure you get what I'm saying, right? Like, it's
Yes.
like we prescribe value to our gifts sometimes that I think can kind of keep us in a box.
Absolutely.
Right? Provides borders and parameters and stuff. And I think, as you said earlier, it's a practice, right? I got to think about it differently, and that's a practice.
It is. I mean, working on mindset. I mean, that's
Right.
one of the major things on my table right now. Being honest, it's me, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've reached a place in my business where I'm not going to be able to move forward anymore until I do some work on me.
Wow.
And a lot of that is around mindset and, my thought life and my mindset. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right?
I love that you said it, my thought life.
Right.
I've never heard that before. But I get
Not
it.
stories we tell ourselves, right? Like
Right.
and I always say, because your friends will say something about themselves and you'll be like, or something that somebody said to them, and you'll be like all upset. But we'll say those things to ourselves
Oh, sure.
or about ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So yeah.
Well, I often say, because I'm a yoga teacher and have been for a long time, and I usually say things like work really hard to silence the person who speaks the loudest in your ears,
Yeah.
and that's you, right? And to calm down that inner critic, like forgive her for
Yeah.
what she's done, right? But also encourage her to stop doing that and to be kind and gentle to you. And so it's like, I think that, like, whenever I hear a new way of saying things that I always say, like, tell me again, it was
Your thought life.
thought life, thought
Yeah.
life.
They're
That,
from,
that resonates with me. I
I
get
think
that.
it's Joyce Myers.
Oh, how about
I'm pretty
that?
sure that's where I got that from.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, okay. So, oh my gosh, Royce, we are almost out of time. And I have to get to what has become like a fan favorite. And that is that I ask everybody the same set of questions.
Okay.
And you can do one word answers, you can elaborate. It just gives us a chance to get to know you even better. So, let's start here with what is your favorite word? And it can be this moment, this week, this day. It doesn't have to be like forever, it can change.
Forever. So I will tell you my word for 2025 is limitless.
Limitless. I
I
love
have a
it.
new word every year. So that's my word going into 2025.
So it's your favorite right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have a least favorite word?
Can't.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
grandfather used to always say, "Oh, can't," died a long time ago.
I, I love your grandpa imitation too. That's totally awesome. Do you have a favorite sandwich, or what is the
Oh my,
best kind of sandwich? Are you a
oh my
sandwich?
gosh. The best kind of sandwich?
Mm-hmm.
Ice cream. No, let me think.
No, too. Right. I say ice cream sandwich.
Okay.
Totally good answer. Oh my God.
Does that
Yes.
count? Okay.
Yes, that's the best kind for sure. I mean, if I'm going traditional, like I got into a big BLT stage over the summer.
Oh,
Um,
those are.
because our neighbors were bringing over, like they just had an abundance of farm fresh tomatoes. And oh, it was so good, especially when like the tomato drips out of it and makes a big mess. Oh,
Yeah, and it's fresh tomato too. So
yes.
it tastes like
Mhm.
a tomato and not like water.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, okay. What is the scariest animal? And you live in Arizona, so you probably have scary animals.
Everybody, it's. I'm having a retreat in April, and they're all worried about coming here because I'm like,
We've
they're
seen too
not
many
just.
TV shows like a scorpion like running across your hand or something.
Yeah, we're not gonna be in the desert. You'll be fine. We're gonna be on Main Street. There are no scorpions there. Um, I was gonna say a shark is the scariest animal. Probably because I have a
Ah,
friend who goes shark diving every summer. She's crazy, but she loves it. She does.
that's crazy.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I think, well, so I live on a farm and I gotta say that I think it's a skunk because like one of my biggest fears is that at night when we let our dog out, that he is gonna like find one or tangle with one. And I just don't need that in my life right now. I'm too busy.
No skink, no skunks, and no scorpion. I mean, not scorpions, but porcupines.
Right. Like I don't like that's scary to me because it's like it'd be awful for him, but also a time management issue for me. So I'm gonna go with a skunk. So what does it mean to you? Like, okay, so we have decided you are an artist, I'm an artist, we live these artsy lives. Like when you think about the value of that, like what does it mean to you to live your life as an artist?
I've come to right now this at this point in my life. I
Mhm.
think being an artist is a state of being, and it's who you are.
Right.
You can learn different tools to be able to express that
Mhm.
artistry, and that's going to impact what your art looks like. But I do think that the value of just allowing yourself to
Mhm.
art,
Mhm.
um, it saved me through so many things.
Right.
I was responsible for taking care of homebound seniors during COVID,
Mhm.
as an executive director of our nonprofit, taking care of my own mom. I had a son who was a senior in high school. This is just like one example, right?
Yeah.
And just the pressure and the responsibility and
Mhm.
all the things. And I will tell you that I had a table set up in my living room full time where I created every day.
Mhm.
Um, and making the time for that allowed me to breathe the rest of the day. So the value of arting to me is like breathing.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Mhm. That's so beautiful. And I can tell that I know, I can tell. I can tell. Thank you for sharing that with us and like being so vulnerable and but wow, you're absolutely right. And right as in the way that it applied to you was your exact way. And that's perfect, right? It's so perfect. You are
And
so
everybody's going to be different, which is
yeah,
literally the core value of what art is, right?
right. So Royce, you like, I hope people have told you this that like you radiate like inner beauty. Like you're beautiful anyway, like outside, but like inside, like it just like comes out of you like a ray. Like it's really kind of amazing. And I'm
Well,
not just blowing sunshine. I totally mean it. Like you amazing. Amazing.
it's one of my favorite, and I always forget her name. I need to remember her name because it's one of my favorite quotes. And I
Hmm.
won't say the whole thing, but basically, it's just allowing. I think we all have the light, right? And
Yeah.
we've been taught for some reason that it's not okay to let it shine. But when you let your art shine, when you let your
Mhm.
light shine, like you give other people permission to do the same. And
Oh, so true.
that's
You
our
know,
challenge.
I have kind of a funny story about that. So, um, as far as like inner light, um, I am 1000% a great big dork. Like I am goofy and weird and strange.
Yeah.
And Darren is always saying when I'm like being myself. He's like, I really wish the whole world could see you like this. And I'm like, are you nuts? Like, there's no way I'm gonna let anybody see what I'm really like. I don't curate too much, but I do curate some. And I like protect you all from my super weird. But
No, I
but
think
his
that's
place
the
is
part.
yours.
That's the special part.
Right, right. But like I am getting a little bit more and more courageous. But like Royce, I mean, seriously, like I'm a weird dancer, I'm a funny singer, like I do all kinds of
All the
like
things.
nonsensical things in my life. And Darren says what you say. He's like, you got to share that so that other people feel safe to do the same.
Do the same thing, because the
And,
reality is we all have things that we think are weird
yes.
or dark. I mean, all the things, right? And like you said, you're like, oh, I thought you had it all together, girl. No, no, right? I mean, we're taught to show up and show the best versions of ourselves, and that's fine. But we all have stuff.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and I think that, like, given that the name of my little show is the Happy Time Craftcast, I am also very curious to know, like, what brings you like the most happiness?
the most happiness right now is my grandbabies, girl.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any of those yet, but I've heard it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. Those grandbabies show up. My son is like, because I have, you can see in my house, like I
Yes.
feel like, so I pick, and I'm not gonna just collect stuff and just like hide it out somewhere. So I have it
Oh,
displayed
yeah.
all over my house, and I have an antique typewriter, and my grandson likes to play on it,
Hmm.
and my son is like, no, 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 don't mess with that. I'm like, he can play with that, and he just
Right. It
looks
made
at
it
me
this
like,
far.
what happened to my mom? What happened to the I don't have McDonald's money, mom? What happened to the
He's like bringing up old stuff from like his
yes?
childhood.
Yes. He's like, what happened to the I don't have, don't ask for anything when we go in the store, mom. What happened to the, I'm like, I'm sorry. That was mom. This is G mom.
Yeah, right? Like
Grandma.
you and your memory, that's what I'm going to say to my kids is that you have a memory that I don't have.
Oh yeah, I remember. But when you're a parent, like you're parenting and you're trying to survive, like
Yeah, of
it's
course.
different. As a
Of course.
grandparent, like I don't have to parent. Like being
Hmm.
the grandma, I get to just do all the fun stuff.
I
Like,
remember my mom feeding our kids ice cream for dinner, you know, and it was just like awesome for them, of course. But I get what you're saying, right? Like
yeah,
it's
because you don't have to do all the
I
things.
look forward to it someday.
I know, right? I know my oldest is 30. Oh Lord. Anyways, we have two. So I'm older. I'm older than you. So we have I
Not
can't believe
much.
I'm a grandma, by the way.
You're a Gen Xer though, yeah?
I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so and I get to art with my oldest grandson, which is so
Yes.
awesome because he's on the spectrum,
Yep.
but he has the thing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how it's gonna show up. My
Right,
job
right.
is to just introduce him to all the things,
Yep.
and I just know he's gonna choose his favorite, and he's gonna have an artistic expression, and I'm
I
excited.
love
I'm
that.
excited
That's
to see what
so
that's gonna look
exciting.
like.
Well, so like all lots of things bring me happiness, but like right now, a couple weeks ago, so I've always, kind of like done the artsy things with my children. And, I taught our girls to crochet, my youngest son to we've done macrame, we've done all kinds of things. And I am always inviting them into my workshop to spend time with me. My oldest son likes to just be down there with me while I'm doing things, and he doesn't like to really do things himself. My youngest son, he definitely likes to collage and make like collage boards with me. He's done cyanotype printing with me, he and his girlfriend. It's been great. But my daughter, Georgie Rice, she was like, Mommy, she's 22. Mommy, I am ready for you to teach me crochet. And I was like really, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. And she made a chicken coaster in one lesson. Like I said double crochet and she was like, okay, how many? And then I was like slip stitch and she's like, okay, I got it. And I was just like, oh my God, Georgia. Like I was just bursting with excitement that I could just say the words. And she was like, okay, I got it. And then she asked me to send her a video of just like, send me a video of like how I finish and like the half double crochet. And I was just like, oh,
Right?
it happened.
Yes. I have two boys. No, it's just, they're not interested. They think I'm crazy. It's fine.
Well, hopefully they help you move furniture and all those kinds of things,
Oh yeah. My
right?
my my baby actually traded in his truck for a car. He's like,
Ah,
because he got tired of picking up furniture from the side of the
I
road.
was gonna say, did he ask permission first to live his life in that way?
How dare you?
Right? Like mom needs that. Royce, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sitting down and talking with me. And I will be sure to link all the things in our show notes so that folks know where to find you. Because I know you've got some exciting things coming up, like a membership
Yeah.
and right, and lots of great things happening with Roycycled Treasures. For those of you who like follow the show, we have an extra episode coming this Friday, actually. It'll be Friday the 20th at noon. I'm going to be talking with Natalie Liu, and Natalie is going to be talking about art for resilience.
Mhm.
And Natalie works with people in the healthcare space. And Royce, kind of like you were saying about how art can save us
Yeah.
and make us feel connected and grounded and purposeful, and also for some helps heal and provide the balm that soothes what is broken. And
Yeah.
so Natalie is going to be with me. I know, isn't that great to be talking about
That
that?
is so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. And so thank you so much, everyone, for being with us today on Jolene's Happy Time Craftcast. Make sure that you check out all of our links for upcoming art retreats, art, cooking, yoga, resin, macrame, embroidery, all the
I'm
things.
so jealous.
It's pretty awesome. It's a pretty great way to live. So, everyone, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time. Thanks, Royce.
Thank you.